If you're getting low views, it's because it sucks.
I've seen you talk a lot about hooks and everything else. Explain your process of a video.
There's 4 levels of awareness. You have a symptom, problem, solution, product. There's always going to be most of your audience being in the symptom field. So if you're making a hook, always keep it in the symptom field.
To have the truly valuable things where people want to buy your stuff, you have to have done it. Cardona's built a billion-dollar business. Milet, Hormozy, they've all done it. And that's why you listen. What do you think is a great reel?
I don't necessarily look at what can make a video go viral. I look at the things that you can control. And I look at...
What up, well builders? Today, I got a guy on who is only 19 years old and has already built a 7-figure business teaching people how to create content. In fact, I saw this kid about a year ago just making great content. I was like, bro, let's get on a Zoom and chat. Like, I want to just know what you're doing. And I got the chance to meet him back then. I've just watched him blow up since. Invited him to a wealth con and got to know him. And now he's here at the podcast. I got Devin Jatho. What's up, man?
Nothing much, man. It's good to be here.
Yeah, dude. Appreciate you stopping by. So you said you're going to Hormozy's event today or tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yeah.
That'll be exciting.
Yeah.
And you were like, I'm not even hoping to learn anything. I just want a mindset shift.
Just want to break beliefs, man.
Yeah. At 19 years old, I mean, what was your mindset even before you got into content and building a business?
I've been doing this for a decent amount of time. Not necessarily at this level, but around 13 is whenever I first started looking at, I need to make money.
13 years old.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The only way I knew how to make money back then was social media. I used to be a professional Fortnite player for a little bit. And the first dollar I made was through Twitch. So I streamed on Twitch, and over time I started other different businesses. You can't do paid ads whenever you're 13. I'm not even sure if you're allowed to.
Yeah.
I have the money to. So I just tried to build a business through social media. And then after a while, we got here, and now I just teach other people how to do it for themselves.
Yeah. So what got you, I guess you go from streaming and Twitch to eventually you start making Instagram reels. That was like your bread and butter.
Yeah, there was a lot in between.
Yeah.
So at the beginning, I just played Fortnite for money. We did quote unquote wagers. So basically I take my $5, you take your $5, we play, whoever wins gets the full pot.
Yeah. I
did that for a while, and then I started up a wager Discord. And then I promoted that on social media to where other people would buy into the Discord, because a bunch of 14-year-olds playing for money, most likely, they're not going to pay if they lose.
Right.
So if you buy into a wager Discord, you now have skin in the game. So I was the person that was the middleman between all the money moving within the wager Discord.
Got it.
Then after that, I started a PC optimization business, basically helping gamers make their PC run faster just through a couple of settings. And that's where I started actually posting on social media frequently to try to get clients for that. And then after that, that failed. So I started knocking doors until I started this up.
What are you doing? What were you selling? Knocking doors?
Not solar.
Solar?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
It was rough. It was rough. But I learned a lot of things in the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting, man. I mean, when I was 18, 19, I'm 34 now. So YouTube and stuff wasn't like a dream job.
Yeah.
And even like door-to-door sales, like I had never heard people doing it. Now, like in the world today, it's like, oh, bro, you can go make bank doing door-to-door solar, pest control. Like they got all these things. You know, obviously everybody knows what being a YouTuber can lead to. And, you know, it's like there's so many different options for young kids today. It's like, I don't even know why anyone goes to college if you're in high school today.
Right.
With all the ways you can learn and make money like right now.
The parents.
Yeah.
My parents wanted me to go to college real bad. Yeah. But just never was in the cards.
So it didn't seem like anything worked out. What finally clicked?
What finally clicked? So within the optimization business, I mean, it did well. Like, it wasn't necessarily the worst thing in the world. I was making like maybe $100 a day, but I was like 16, 17. So to me, I was rich. It just did not take me to where I wanted to go. And then after that, it kind of slowed down. Fortnite started to die out a little bit, and then just had no money. So it's like, okay, I need to go knock doors. And then eventually I watched a Shark Tank episode. And in the episode, this guy was making his pitch. He was basically saying, hey, we have this amount of sales. And Kevin O'Leary asked, okay, where are you getting these sales from? And he said social media. And then Kevin asked, okay, well, how many followers do you have? And that was whenever it kind of clicked that people would pay me to get them followers if they had the choice. So that day, I started posting content on social media, never looked back.
Yeah. So with that, I mean, you've really only been doing it for a couple of years now, like in this form, talking about content creation.
Yeah.
Right? What made you fall into that niche?
It seemed like the biggest gap within the market. I mean, it seemed like something I understood. I grew up on just creating content. I consumed a lot of content. So I figured as long as I can learn the correct things and hop into the industry and do it myself, I could sell it.
Mm. So did you first just like, what'd you first start talking about? Like, how do you talk about creating viral videos if you've never done anything? That's like where.
Well, I had viral videos before then for my optimization business.
But
I never really told anybody that. Like, even to this day, no one really knows like what that channel is. So I just started talking about, realistically, I didn't know what I was talking about at the beginning. But I acted like I knew what I was talking about. This is a guess
that I think will work.
Yeah. But it ended up working. I think my 4th video went viral. It was talking about, you know what the setting on alt text is on Instagram?
I don't even know.
It's like for visually impaired people. So within Instagram, whenever you're making an Instagram post, you can type in the alt text and that could be used for SEO. I did a video about that, got 1 million views. Everything took off from there.
Got it. So you start making these videos about how to go viral.
Yeah.
And people are liking them.
Yeah.
And then what?
And then I got on a call with this one guy. He was from Malaysia. I still don't really know what he does to this day. He was a Forex guy, but he basically said, hey man, I don't really know what you do, but you're getting views and I want to pay you to do the same for me. Write down 10 things on a Google Doc and your price. And I'm 18 at this point. I'm knocking doors. It's like 30 degrees outside. I'm cold. I'll do anything. So I wrote down the biggest 10 things that I could find. And he asked me how much. I said $4,000. He paid it that day and never uploaded a video. But that day I got 3 more sales. It was all kind of like all at once. And that day I made $10,000. And that was the first little step towards where we are now.
Yeah, you're like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So you build an agency, kind of just helping people, editing their videos and stuff. How was that?
Hard, rough.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of deliverables.
Tell people about like the life of an agency owner.
Stressful. You are responsible for everything, even the things that you're not responsible for. So for example, I'm not necessarily responsible for how good you record. And I would say that's probably one of the bigger percentages within the content's performance is the person that's actually recording. I can't make you more interesting. I can only edit the cool videos.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's one of the things you're always stressed out about, things that you're not even, I still look at it as my responsibility, but logistically it's probably not. Whenever I was driving to Miami to record a course, I remember it was like a 13-hour drive. I live in Tennessee, and I had to sit there on my phone and frame videos, like leave revisions on videos for clients the whole way there. Yeah. So it's rough, but it paid off. Yeah.
So you do agency for a bit, then you get into education, start doing coaching and everything else. And is that where kind of things are at right now?
Yeah, that's where everything's at right now. Just focusing on education.
Yeah. So let's talk about education and content. Okay. Your main thing is Instagram Reels.
Yeah.
So let's just go over the process of what it takes to make a great reel.
What do you consider a great reel? Like a valuable reel?
Well, define that.
Okay.
What do you think is a great reel?
Okay. So I don't necessarily look at what can make a video go viral. I look at the things that you can control, and that would be the input to the video. And I look at how can I make this video the most valuable as I can. There's 5 things I look at. Number 1, can your video be broad? Does your video present a common problem or gap within information to the largest possible audience that is either relevant or relatable to that audience? Number 2, does your video have a clear solution? Can I watch your video and go from point A and to point B? Whether I use your framework, insights, whatever you give me within that video, can I go from point A to point B? Number 3 is your video actually viewer depictable? Now, what that means is if I were to watch your clear solution, could I see myself doing that solution and would it be worth it to me? So for example, 4 years ago, whenever you were dancing on TikTok, if I told you you had to post 20,000 shorts before you even see a dime, would you be willing to do it?
Right.
Probably not.
Yeah.
So your clear solution is not necessarily valuable to me if I don't see myself doing it. However, whenever you're dancing on TikTok 4 years ago and I was like, hey, Ryan, post on TikTok for the next 4 years and you'll be here. You'd be like, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I can do that.
Videos.
Yeah.
So your video must be viewer depictable and your clear solution must be viewer depictable. Fourthly, your video must be unique. I would say, like, let's say, for example, you're a fitness coach. Everyone already knows how to lose weight, eat less, move more. They already know the solution that they should be doing. However, what people want is either a new solution that is more easy or more efficient than the current solution they already have in their mind.
Yeah.
So your clear solution must be unique. And then lastly, it must make you a little bit uncomfortable. Is there a little voice in the back of your head saying, I don't know if I should post this for free. I kind of want to sell this. Like, will people still pay me after this? I think that's one of the more important ones. Your reputation is built off the free things that you give, not your paid things. So even if 99%, this is something I read in the Hermosi book that I really resonated with. Even if 99% of people never buy from you, those are the people that build your reputation from the people that will buy from you.
Right.
So that's just what I focus on.
Yeah, people talking about you.
Yeah. So those are the 5 things that I think that makes a video quote unquote valuable.
Wealth builders, you might have recently heard that we launched Wealthy University, which has access to all of our courses. You get weekly calls with me and our team. You also get access to special trainings, many of which have been done by people who are on this podcast, as well as recordings of WealthCon and other workshops and events that we've done. But even though that was good, I actually want to make it risk-free for you to try for yourself. I'm giving all of the podcast listeners a 14-day free trial by simply going to wealthyuniversity.com/podcast. So if you go check out that link, you'll be able to get access to your 14-day free trial right now. You'll be able to go check out the course. You'll be able to go check out calls, trainings, and everything else, and then see if it's a fit for you. There's literally no risk to doing it. So go to wealthyuniversity.com/podcast and go get your free 14-day trial of Wealthy University today. And your definition of valuable is what?
Broad. Like,
well, I know what goes into a valuable video, but like, what's the clear outcome for what makes something valuable?
I mean, okay. I mean, that just depends on, like, that's a subjective metric. I would say those 5 things would be the most objective way that I can look at it.
Well, those are the inputs.
Yeah.
So what would an output of a
valuable video?
Yeah.
I would say positive reinforcement. I'm positively reinforcing in you watching my next video by giving you something in this video.
So you want people to essentially follow you. Would that be the best metric? Like they're going to watch another one?
I want them to look at me and go, that kid has a weirdly deep voice, messy hair, and I like what he said. And if I see him again, I would not be upset if I saw him again. I don't really care if you follow me. I just care that you remember my face.
Well, yeah, they don't have to click the follow button, right?
Yeah.
But like you want them to watch again.
Basically, yeah. I want them to be positively reinforced to see my video again. Okay.
The reason I ask is because it's an interesting topic, right? And there's lots of different philosophies, which is what you're kind of saying. Like, hey, it's a hard question to answer. It's subjective.
Yeah.
And it's true, right? Because I think there are people who would say, oh, well, the definition of a successful video is, did it get X amount of views for me, right? And if it does, great. If it doesn't, then it wasn't successful, which I think that's a bad metric, right? Because if you get 5 million views of some random just meme, right? Because I see entrepreneurs do that. Like they'll just post memes that get lots of videos and they're like, dude, my thing's popping off. And I'm like, no, it's not. No one cares. Like you just posted a meme of a chicken or something, right? So that's one. On the other hand, I don't think views are important because it's like the right kind of view is more valuable than 1 million views. If you got 10,000 of the right kind of views, 10,000 of people who will actually buy your thing, dude, give me that all day versus 1 million people who are never going to buy it.
100%.
Right. And so I think as an entrepreneur, which most people are, the definition of a valuable video is going to be based on your circumstance. And so if you need to make money today, the definition of a valuable video is getting a sale. For real. Like, it's like, bro, I need to make payroll. We got to make a sale. This video needs to produce a sale. I don't care if it gets 1 view. If that 1 view gets a sale, that video was super valuable.
Good video.
That was a great video, right? But on the other hand, if you're playing the long game, you're like, hey, I want to make sure I'm building my brand the right way, that's attracting the right kind of people. Like they know what they're going to get if they see one of my videos. And I'm getting the right people who would be interested in that. And those people would be interested in buying from me or investing with me or whatever else. And they may not buy today, but I don't need them to buy today.
Right.
Like they're going to buy in the long run.
I think of course, if you're in scarcity, you're going to think in scarcity. But I think trying to look at content abundantly will pay much larger dividends in the future. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's playing the long game.
Yeah.
And one thing, you and I were talking about this before, but it's like with an agency, so many people have just expectations of like, dude, this needs to happen right now.
Yeah.
And it's like, nah, dude, content is truly a long game. Like, how do you get somebody to buy into that?
Buy into like the ideology of that?
Yeah.
I make them like say it up front. Like, for example, are you willing to do this for 6 months? If they say no, then I can't help you.
How much does somebody need to post?
So there's no real like optimal answer for that. But the way I look at it is you need to post once per day.
Yeah, minimum. That's the minimum.
I mean, if you have a whole floor like you could probably do a little bit more. But for the normal person, I would say, it also depends on where you are. Quantity will lead to quality at a certain point whenever it comes to building the skill. But at a certain point, if you're trying to make quality in quantity in too much of a quantity, then the quality will dimmer. Yeah. So personally, I think once per day, no one wants to see your face too much. Mm-hmm. So that's just the way I look at it. Once per day is a sweet spot for me.
What do you think about guys who would, I don't know, maybe like a Cardone or a Gary Vee, or these guys who are proponents of just like being out there all the time, right?
Everyone has their own strategy and everything works. I mean, I'm sure The Rock isn't watching this podcast thinking, okay, I need to make my videos valuable from here on out. I need to follow this checklist. Yeah. I think everything works. It just depends on what you're trying to build and what you're trying to associate with yourself. Personally, like I said, I want to have the positive reinforcement. If you're posting 10 videos per day, they can't all be good. Right. They can't all be great. That's just the way I look at it. I want everything that I do to be
a great video.
Yeah.
Right. So it's interesting. I had Grant in here about 2 weeks ago, and we were just talking about, the 10X philosophy is volume. Yeah. Yo, freaking. All right. You say 1 a day? 10. Let's do 10, and let's let the results just be what they are. Mm-hmm. Right. And to be fair, if you were to take a sample of all these people, the people who do 10 versus the people that do 1, the 10 will win every time, right? There'll be the outliers who like really are truly quality and like their ones will just hit and go viral. But the reality is 100 average people, those who do 10 will kill anyone who does 1. And so, you just start to think about this mindset of volume. And I was asking Grant about it, and he was like, honestly, dude, I'm about to start doing less. And I was like, whoa, that's against the 10X brand, bro. Like, what are you doing? Right. And I was like, you can't do less. That's you've built everything to this point. He goes, you're right, but, you've got to evolve. And he's like, I'm trying to reach the next stage of my journey, and I'm going to have to evolve into something different to get there.
Right. I don't like the idea of throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. Put it in a baseball analogy. I don't want to take as many swings at the bat until I get a home run. I just want to hit the home run. Yeah.
But you don't really learn how to hit the home run until you take all the swings.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. It also depends on what kind of person you are. Me, I will sit there and I will analyze everything beforehand instead of just going in and doing it. But I know a lot of people, that's not what they do.
I actually think a lot of people are like you, but they just don't ever do it.
Don't do it.
They analyze and they're like, oh, well, freaking Devin's okay, you know what? Devin's right. I knew I was right. I'm gonna analyze for another week, and then I'm gonna finally make that first video. Right. And it's like, no, like if you're brand new, we are not talking about the same thing.
I think there's a lot more effort that goes into it than people think.
Yeah. Just put out stuff if you're brand new.
Yeah. I will re-record a video 3 times at the minimum.
That's crazy.
And each recording is 40 minutes. Just gotta go, okay, what am I saying? Ryan Pineda. Like I'll just say it over and over again.
That's crazy. Yeah. The amount of split testing.
It's just what you got to do.
Yeah. And it's interesting because there's so many ideologies on how to succeed. And like we said, like Grant or Gary Vee, they'll be like, bro, volume. You're like, hey, quality. And I remember, you're going to Hormozy's event when he first started out, he was very low quantity and actually his quality wasn't even great either. No. It was just, quality information. It was quality information, bad edits and everything else. And he's like, you don't need good edits. Because I met him years ago before he really blew up. Because I was like, this guy knows a lot. Yeah. Just like before you really blew up, I can tell when people are really good. And I'm like, bro, I want to know that person before they really pop off. And I just remember with him, he ended up talking to Grant. And Grant told him, hey, you need to do more, right? You're putting out 1 video a day. I put out 50. Like, you want to be where I'm at, you need better, more. Yeah. And, Alex started putting out a lot of quantity plus quality. Right. He increased every aspect of it, the edits, the everything else. And, but at some point you reach the point of, all right, well, you're going to put out so much quantity that it will dilute everything. And even if, let's just say you did remain top quality, like the information was still just dope. Yeah. It still gets diluted.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. It's crazy. But it's just like, that's business and life. It's always a balancing act. Mm-hmm. It's like, we were just talking about the gym. Working out 1 hour a day is great. bodybuilders work out for hours a day, but if they work out 12 hours a day,
it's diminishing.
Yeah. You actually get worse.
Right.
Your body needs to recover.
I think it's a good analogy to look at it.
Yeah. So you got to figure out where that balance is for you.
Yeah.
So where do you see like most people make mistakes when it comes to content? Like what are some other things?
Caring about too much. Caring about too much. Nothing really matters. A lot of people like to use the word algorithm. Algorithms just how they optimize for their end goal. Every single social media platform has the same end goal, and they're all incentivized by one thing, and that is to keep the person on their platform watching videos for longer.
So do you think watch time is like the biggest thing?
Yeah, I mean, that's just what they're incentivized by. I mean, if a person watches more on that platform, the platform makes more money from advertisement. So as long as you can optimize for people actually watching your videos, nothing else truly matters.
Yeah. My theory has been basically that watch time is the most valuable metric. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
And you're starting to see it on YouTube now. Like a year ago, I made the decision to only do podcast. I did YouTube for the 10 to 15 minute videos, and that's how I built my channel for years. Then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do all podcasts. And it's like, all right, well, the moment you start doing hour to 2 hour things, your views are going to go down compared to the quick hitters. And they're like, dude, is this the right thing? And I'm like, well, the watch time's going up. What do I really want at the end of the day? Is it a view that, the watch time was 4 minutes, or is it a view with the watch time at 20 minutes? Like this one to me is 5 times more valuable. And like, dude, if somebody watches a whole hour podcast with me, who's more likely to buy and do something with me?
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. And it just became crystal clear to me. I was like, this makes sense. And then I started to notice the algorithm promoting all these podcasts, right? Like all of a sudden, PBD's doing these 3 hour shows. Joe Rogan's been doing them for long. Like every entrepreneur all of a sudden is like they're just getting promoted for long form.
And TikTok went from only being vertical. Now that you can turn it over and it'll be horizontal.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Yeah. And you can upload 30-minute videos now.
See?
Yeah.
They all know that like the most valuable, dude, if you can get somebody hooked for a couple of minutes to watch a long thing, then that's valuable. I'm sure you've heard by now that WealthCon is coming back to Las Vegas, April 18th to the 20th here at the Caesars Palace. Now, here's the thing. Many people listening to this podcast have not been to WealthCon. Maybe you haven't found the time, maybe the logistics didn't work out, and you have no idea how amazing it is. Well, I'm gonna actually give you something completely for free so you can get a taste of what we've got going on. I'm gonna give you the recordings of our last WealthCon back in January for the 2 full day experience. You're gonna get access to all of the speakers and all of their presentations and everything else right now completely for free by going to wealthcon.org. Now, I don't know how long I'm going to keep this up on the website. It's a special thing that I'm trying out. I want to give people a ton of value, and I want to let you get a taste of what we're going to be doing in April. So go check it out, wealthcon.org. Go get the free recording, and maybe I'll see you at the next one. So anyways, like last year we did it, and we had on YouTube 1.2 million hours of watch time. And I forget how many years that is. It's a lot of years.
Yeah.
It's hundreds of years. And you're like, wow, people watched for hundreds of years in a year? That's insane.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it became crystal clear to me that was the path. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to stick with these podcast things and just riff because it's easy. I don't have to prep. We just roll. And then, let people, we'll clip it up and people will find the clips and they'll come to the show, and that's great. And are the clips going to get the most amount of views versus me being like super intentional, with a reel? Probably not, but I only have so much time in the day. How do I want to spend it?
All right. Okay. My question to you would be, if you were willing to put in the time, do you think that the results would be worth, like, for example, you said that you don't have enough time. If you were to spend an extra hour on content, do you think the results would be more valuable than
an extra hour, like per day or per week?
Let's say per day, because the way that I look at it is the reason I think content's the best is because it's the only form of acquisition that brings leverage. So out of the 4 ways to advertise, reaching out to family, strangers, paid media, content's the only one that you can put in the same input and get a different output. So would you see the extra time allocation per day be worth it to you?
It depends at what stage of business you're at. So, for example, in organic content versus paid media, organic content is like, I'm a huge advocate, obviously. And it's great. but it will always have a ceiling. So let's just say your videos right now get 1 million views. So it's like you're doing your absolute max right now. You're really maxing out your videos.
Yeah.
And then, maybe as your following grows, it gets to 1.2, 1.4, like whatever the average ends up becoming, right? With paid, I could go buy 1 million views right now, right? So it becomes a thing of scale. And it's like, what becomes easier? To build a business that I can just go buy 10 million views right now and I'll still make money, or to go spend that hour trying to get my views up from 100,000 to 500,000, like whatever, right? And it only happens on one video, right? Like it's significantly easier to buy paid traffic that way if you have the ability to monetize it.
To play devil's advocate, but if you put that out into organic, then the paid media would go up just on the byproduct of organic being high.
Well, your paid media would still be the same cost. It would never change.
Yeah, but like the conversion on the paid media, just because they see your face on.
Yeah, if they see my face more, for sure. Yeah, conversions will go up 100%. So I think they all play a role, but it's like, okay, you allocate the 24 hours a day that you have.
Yeah.
You're going to work on your business. You're going to film content. You don't have a family and kids yet.
Right.
You will.
I don't have any responsibilities.
Right. You got other things in life that are important. Because also too, once you make enough money, you're like, yeah, it's whatever. Like I don't really care that much anymore. So like all these things start to take away time. Yeah. And you're like, okay. Because I'll go through seasons in life where there is something that is the most important thing, and I will dedicate all my time and energy to it. And so like when I was 19, it was baseball. Like all I care about is baseball. I didn't care. I wasn't making no social media videos. Like I'm just trying to spend 5 hours a day practicing and getting better. And then, back when I was making TikToks, I did like focus only on TikTok. No one was doing it. And I'm like, I got to figure this out. So I just spent hours studying TikTok, making videos, doing all that. And then now I would say I spend the least amount of time on content than I've done in years, because now I'm just focused on building out the businesses and, taking what I've built and making sure that those things are fully optimized. Because if I'm going to go get a bunch of customers, making sure we can fulfill and have a great product and brand and everything else. Because like, I don't know, the way I look at it is like, okay, once again, we're limited by hours. So if I have, 2 million followers right now across all platforms, if I really wanted to focus and make this podcast and my reels like so good, better than everyone else's, I know for a fact I could do it.
Yeah.
I have the talent to do it. I have all that. But I'm going to have to spend, instead of the 6 hours a week I currently spend, I'll have to spend all 40 being the best. And then what happens? It's literally impossible to go build what you saw out there and make that the best.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to be a crappy dad. And, so it's all a balancing act. Like, it's just, I guess at the end of the day, why would I want to build, I guess what makes, if money, I guess, is the metric we're measuring, and what's the best 40 hours to spend, maybe you could make an argument that spending the 40 hours being intentional with content might yield the best result. Maybe you make the argument that spending, hey, no, your brand's already good. Spend 3 hours over here and do the rest building the business and everything else, because they're going to come regardless.
Just depends on what you're optimizing for.
Yeah, but I would tell somebody who is brand new to business, but who's blowing up in content, I'd be like, bro, dominate the content, like get the momentum and let's go. If somebody has no following, but they're doing really good in business, I'd be like, hey, like keep building that business, man. Like this thing over here is going to destroy, you're too early in the process to like worry about it. Just keep building the business, keep crushing. And I just think everyone's in a different, and also too, their talent.
Yeah.
Like, what are you naturally inclined to do? I know a lot of business people, dude, they should never do social media. Like they should never do it.
Right.
And then I meet a lot of charismatic people. I'm like, bro, you're going to kill it.
Right.
And it's like, everyone's different.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Like, I just don't think there's a right or wrong answer. And then I also think that it comes down to your team too. Cause it's like, we're still going to put out a ton of content, even if I only work 3 hours a week
Yeah.
at content. So it's not like it stops. Is the quality going to be lower? For sure.
Yeah.
But it's still not going to be bad. Like it'll still be better than 99% of people's. Like, so that's the thing too. It's like, you can be truly, I had Tim Grover in here. He's speaking at my next event. And he actually talked about like, okay, what does it take to be the GOAT? Okay, to be the GOAT, like Jordan and Kobe and these guys that he trained. Yeah, you got to spend every waking hour perfecting every minute detail of basketball, like the millimeters of footwork and everything. And I think the equivalent in content would be like what you're doing. Hey, I got to say the hook 5 times.
All right.
That little edit I didn't like. It was like a 0.5 millimeter second off.
All right.
We got like those things matter to be the best. And, you know, if you don't want to be the best, it doesn't really matter. It's just like, it's still, you know, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But, you know,
It's a big deal to you.
yeah.
Yeah. I also think that one thing I would say is one of the bigger mistakes is not looking at social media as competition.
Not looking at it as competition.
I think you need to look at social media as
Oh,
competition.
all right. Tell me about this.
So what would you say the most valuable thing within today's society is?
Attention.
So why do you think that you shouldn't compete for it? Like, why do you think that you're going to go on social media and then...
Oh, I think you should compete.
Yeah, 100%.
We're in agreement. I just think, yeah.
It's just like, if you go there and you half-ass it and you only do so much, like someone else is willing to do more than you, and you're going to lose to that person. Because you're competing for attention.
Yeah.
And you're also competing for attention against things that are entertaining. If you're coming in as a business owner trying to grow your business, you're trying to be educational. So you have to do even more than what the cat videos might have to do.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the bigger mistakes that people make. It's just, okay, I'm going to do it just to do it. You're wasting time at that point because you're going to lose.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like starting a business and not knowing, oh crap, there's another gas station next door to me.
Right.
I don't need to, I should have probably realized that before I, open this thing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with that. And I think this is what I tell people with social media. I'm like, hey, at the end of the day, everyone's unique. So there's a lot of real estate guys out there. I am unique in the way that I present real estate and my beliefs and how I did what I did and everything else. This other guy is unique in his own way, and this girl's unique in her own way. Like, I don't need to be like any of them. But you do need to understand who's who, and you need to understand what's making them do well. Because if you don't, it's like, what are you even basing your hypothesis on how to succeed?
Yeah. One thing that I think about whenever I'm creating content is, do you think that you can get views by just being who you are and talking about things that you do? Or do you think that people just don't care? Because my thing that I've always talked about is people just don't care unless you're giving them something. And I wanted to hear your opinion on that because I heard you say that once and I want to play devil's advocate on that.
On just be you?
Yeah, well, not necessarily just be you, because I do think you should be yourself. But I think there's
like entertaining content.
Yeah, I think there's at a point to where it's just like, if you're not giving them something, then what is the point of creating the video?
Yeah. Well, here's how I think about it: is it's twofold. There's a belief that if you post a high quantity of content, that the algorithm's going to penalize you. And therefore, there's like a limit to the bullets you can shoot, right? Because if you told me, hey, Ryan, you can only post once a day, I would act very differently than how I act today.
Economical.
Yeah. But if you're like, Ryan, you literally can post as many times as you want. It does not matter. The algorithm may or may not penalize you for it, right? Because I've posted 10 times in a day. And, I've had them where 8 out of 10 don't do great, but 2 out of 10 pop, right? And, in my opinion, I'm like, I'll just post as many times. I don't really give a crap. That's just me. Now, as far as posting things that are, let's just say, lifestyle type content that aren't, they're not valuable other than they're just entertainment, really. I think it's interesting because now that I've been in business for a while and I've seen just people and how they interact, I think it is important. I actually think it helps with sales and relatability, even though it may not get that many views. So I'll give you an example. I just started posting golf content. like I'm golfing anyway. I'm like, guys, just film it. Whatever we do with it, right? And there's a lot of people who see my golf content, and honestly, it performs pretty much the same as my other content. Yeah. But it's doing a few things. One is it is attracting a new audience. So there's all these people who like golf who are now seeing me like, who is this guy? And then they go watch me hit a freaking bomb. And they're like, oh, dang, this guy's like not even a golfer. He's a business dude. Well, golf people like business. They go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So now I'm attracting a new audience who wasn't aware of me. Second thing I'm doing is I'm getting deeper with the people who are aware of me, because there's a lot of people who follow me who are avid golfers. And now they're like, oh, bro, Ryan actually golfs. Like, he's not just one of these dudes who sucks. This dude can play. I want to play with him. And I kid you not, ever since I started posting golf content, I've had different business deals I would have never gotten before. Different investors, different opportunities, that just because they're golf people. They're like, hey, bro, like, I got a golf club over here, super famous, like Augusta. If you know what that is, this is where the Masters are.
Yeah.
I've been invited to Augusta. Literally, it's like nobody, even if you want to, can get on there. And the club manager's like, hey, dude, I follow your stuff and I know you're a golfer. I want to host you.
But then is that just because you're you? Like, because at the beginning, I'm assuming you only posted real estate content, right?
I wasn't posting golf content, but I would still post family stuff, like faith stuff. Now I share my faith a lot more too.
Yeah.
So like, I just think people go deeper with you when you relate to something else, right? Because what will end up happening for you is like, they'll be like, dude, that kid Devin knows a ton about social media, right? And then it'll get boring. They'll be like, yeah, whatever. Like, that's what will happen. And then there's going to be something else to it that they're going to be like, oh, Devin's got this going on now. He's doing that. Like, it becomes a reality TV show because you become a celebrity. Think about it. Look how celebrities have acted for years. Like, the Kardashians became like the most famous celebrities because of reality TV. People just wanted to know what they were doing,
right?
And that's what IG Stories does. That's what, like, even that's how people follow me today. They're like, bro, I saw Devin came on the show. Like, when's that episode dropping? It's reality TV.
Right. It's like few people that would work for. Like,
if you got to be entertaining.
Yeah. But if you're not that guy,
you got to live a cool life.
You have to yeah.
You do have to have a cool life to, like, if you're boring and you're just like, so I'm working at my desk and, but even then people still like it, bro. Look at streamers. You're a Fortnite guy. I watch I'm like, people just watch these guys play games for like hours and hours. That's crazy, but people do it.
But it's for something. I think the wrong mindset is like, I'm just going to do this because people will watch it, instead of I'm going to do this because it's going to value someone else. Whether it be because people didn't watch me because I was entertaining. I didn't like to talk.
Yeah.
I was 14. I didn't really care to talk to the camera. I just wanted to play.
Yeah.
But people watched because I was good and they felt like they could learn something from playing, or they just felt like they can take my money doing a wager, which never happened. But
yeah. Never lost a battle.
But like at a certain point, like,
but like some, I bet you nobody really knows who's seen you that you're a Fortnite pro player, right? Now they do.
No, they don't. Yeah.
Now they're going to be like, bro, dude, I vibe with that. Like, I'm a gamer, whatever the freaking you want to call yourself. I'm a Fortniter.
Yeah.
But like, they will have a deeper level of connection with you now.
Yeah.
Like, the faith side of things has been really interesting for me because I'm not talking about faith as like a way to make money. I've just always been deep in faith. I grew up in the church, dude. I've been doing it. Been holding Bible study in my office for 8 years, way before social media, and it just so happens I now start talking about it because we are launching Bible studies across the country. We got 50 of them now. And you're like, it's just what I do. And it's like, now people go way deeper. They're like, bro, I liked your real estate stuff, dude. But the fact that I'm seeing you do this now, I'm all in. Whatever you're doing, I want to be a part of it. And that wasn't the intent of it, but like, people want to relate more than just being a robot. I tell realtors this all the time. I'm like, dude, if I see you post another house tour again without your face or anything else, like, I'm going to kill you, because you're just a dime a dozen realtor. What makes you unique? Like, how do you separate yourself from the pack as a realtor?
The way I would approach that is just quality of information. Like I guess as realtor it's a little bit different because content's a little bit different.
Yeah. There's nothing unique about your house tour.
Yeah, unless the house is really cool. I think that's whenever you just have to borrow.
But then you're just a luxury agent, right? Like, yeah, I just have dope houses. Like, that's what I do. Yeah. But like, how does a normal realtor distinguish themselves?
I mean, at that point, it just comes to the person.
Yeah, it's your personality, how people connect with, right? Yeah. Because you're going to be like, bro, I want to work with a realtor who gets me. That's mainly who you're going to pick.
Yeah.
You know, so how do people understand you? Well, people attract like people. So you're going to be like, bro, I want to work with somebody who looks like me. Maybe that's my skin color. Maybe that's my age. Maybe somebody who has the same hobbies and passions as me. Maybe it's somebody who's, you know, obviously like already a friend, which would probably be in those boxes anyway, right? That's how you distinguish yourself.
I think it also depends on what you're selling, because if you're selling some sort of service, I think people want to pay the best, especially people with money.
You'd be surprised. There's a lot of bum realtors that sell properties every day.
Right.
You know, like especially cold traffic. Like if they message you and DM you as a realtor, they don't know you're the best. Like people don't really do research that hard.
Well, then it just comes down. Okay.
It's
as
likability.
A realtor, I can see that. Whenever I look at it, I'm looking at it from like a content perspective of like, based on the free value that you're giving, that's how people will determine if they're going to pay you or not. And that's how they're going to determine if you're the best without prior knowledge of who you are.
Yeah. The value of your content, which like, in my opinion, content is valuable because it's either informational or entertaining. Like there's basically two ways it's valuable to somebody.
Or controversial.
That's entertainment.
Yeah. Validating or invalidating someone's opinion.
Yeah. To me, that's just pure entertainment. You're not even, well, I mean, maybe it's a hybrid of entertainment plus information. Like, you know, that's why podcasts are good, because it's just dialogue of everything else. But yeah, I don't know. I just think as somebody I'm logical like you, and I used to think that, man, everybody buys based on rational, you know, things. They don't. No. Like once you realize that, you start to rethink like, well, is it about the best information or is it about who they like the most? And it's like, dude, if I really trust this guy, I don't care if his information's not as good as so-and-so's.
I learned that the hard way in sales calls. Like I was joining the sales calls.
You're going with logic. You're like, bro, like
straight logic.
This. These are the deliverables. This is the best. This is what I did. And you're like, why aren't they closing?
Why do they have to think about it? What are you talking about? You have to think about it. I just showed you all this. It all makes sense.
It's all logical,
what do you have to think about?
Right? But then you go to the emotional side and it's like, hey, why do you want to start creating content?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, well, man, you know, and you find the purpose. And it's just like, all right, like how great would it be to get that message out there, right? What if millions of people could hear it? What's that worth to you? Oh, bro, that'd be worth millions. All right, well, that's what we're talking about. You in? That's the sale.
Yeah.
There's no logic at all.
Yeah.
It's pure emotion. 90% of people buy that way.
Yeah, it took me a long time to understand that.
So why do you think content would be any different? Because content is just selling.
I think it just depends on what you're creating. I think as long as people can logically understand what you're saying and they can decipher if it's a good idea or not based on the 5 things I talked about, then people are going to listen. I mean, if someone truly thinks that what you're about to say is going to be valuable, then I think that they're going to take the time to at least scope it out. So for example, if you were to sit here and say, I've done 1,000 podcasts within my life, and these are the 3 things that I want to talk, or these are the 3 things you need to know whenever you create a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm going to listen to you because you built up some sort of perceived value. Even if I don't want to start a podcast, you're still going to give me information I might use in the future.
Right.
And that's just the way I look at it.
Yeah. What you brought up is a good point. And I don't know if you have experienced this, but I always tell people, I'm like, look, if you're going to be in the business space, you need track record.
Yeah.
Because like you just mentioned, hey, I've done 1,000 podcasts. These are the top 3. It's like, okay, I want to hear what this guy has to say.
Yeah.
Right. But if you're just like, yeah, here's the 3 things, you know, I think you should do for a podcast. It's like, well, why should I listen to you? And that's why I always tell people who are just getting started. And I'm like, so what have you done? If you want to compete, like we're talking about in the business space, why am I going to listen to you? I don't care how good your subtitles are, freaking, you know, how great your information may be. If you have no credibility, why would I listen? Because your information could be correct, but how would you even know? It's just regurgitated from somewhere else, right? And that's a tough thing for a lot of new content creators to understand, is because they're like, well, bro, I want to make it big and I want to give business advice. And I go, well, here's the thing. I think there's two paths to making it as an entrepreneur or content creator. One path is you go out and do the thing and then you start talking about it. And that's what all the greatest entrepreneurs that you see on social media have done. Cardona's built $1 billion business. Patrick Bet-David has done it. Milet, Hormozy, they've all done it, right? And that's why you listen. Are they the best content creators? No, Grant is not like the best content creator. Right. You know, like you listen because of track record and his achievements. And then you have this other side of the coin where you have the content creators. And so I would put my guys who are my friends, like Graham, Stefan, and others, into this bucket. And it's like, they made their money as content creators and they still continue to make their money to this day as content creators. There's nothing wrong with it, but you will not get an entrepreneur who's going to listen to Graham about how to run a business. And so you start to understand, like, you know, if you're young and you want to get into this content game in business, you just got to understand where you stand, right? You can go interview me or you or whoever else, but you're going to be known as just like a content curator. Like, oh, dude, he's a really good host. Nobody's going to listen to what you have to say, but they're going to like to watch your stuff. You're a content creator. You're an entertainer, you know, but to have the truly valuable things where people want to buy your stuff, you have to have done it. And all that to say is, the people who want to build brands because there's a ton of YouTubers who are like, bro, these are the side hustles. This is how you do that. They make great money off AdSense. They make great money from whatever. They don't do anything else.
They're not doing the things that they're saying for you to go do.
Well, like they don't sell anything else because they don't know how.
Yeah.
They've never built a business.
Yeah.
Or had staff or employees, or like they don't know how to do it. Number one. And number two, they don't have credibility to sell a thing. Because if I'm looking for business coaching right now, I got lots of options. Okay. So if he offers it, I'm like, all right, like, what has he done again? Like, he's got a great YouTube channel. He's got a great guest, but what has he done that would make me want to learn directly from him? Right. That's the question every customer would ask. Oh, Cardone's got it. That dude's built some crazy stuff. I think I'm gonna go with him. You know, why are you going to Hormozy's event?
He's done things bigger than I have.
Track record.
Yeah.
But what if he didn't?
I would not be here.
He wouldn't be going.
No.
So that's the point, right? Like, it's just, that's why I tell like the young guys, I'm like, dude, and to be clear, what you've done is at freaking 19 years old to build a 7-figure business. Very few people have done it. So you have track record and like, yo, I've had viral videos. I built a business behind the viral videos. I know what I'm talking about. Freaking easy, right? And so, you know, I would totally go to learn from you on how to build viral videos and build like an education company if I was like a guy, right? But would I go to you for how to build a sales team or how to, you know, build culture and business operating? So like, I wouldn't, right? But you'll build that at some point, and then you'll be able to say, well, no, this is what I built. I built a freaking massive sales team. I know how to do this. And then it's like, that's a new track record that you have.
How do you feel about people using authority endorsement? So for example, if you are 19 years old and trying to create content and I don't know, maybe you want to be a productivity coach.
Yeah.
Do you think it would be unoptimal if they went, okay, I've never done anything, or I've never been a 7-figure entrepreneur. However, I help 7-figure entrepreneurs become more productive. And they make a video saying, here's Harvard studies, here's what to take in this Harvard study, and here's what I've learned, and here's how you can take it as well.
So I think they're falling into the bucket I said before, where they're a content creator.
Yeah.
They're not a business expert.
Right.
Because they haven't done crap.
Right.
Doesn't mean they can't help people and be success, but I'm not going to look at them the same way I look at these other guys who have built big, crazy things.
Yeah.
You know, and it's funny because that's why, like, when people come to my office, they're like, bro, you got a lot going on. I didn't know you had all this happening. Like, what do you think I do all day? Freaking just talk to cameras? Like, I'm a operator first. I built lots of businesses way before I ever did content.
Yeah.
You know, the content is strictly for my businesses. I'll still always be a business guy. I don't even consider myself a content creator. Like, I just have these conversations for my own personal, like, development.
Yeah.
I get to freaking pick the smartest people in the world's brains and build relationships with them, and like, whatever it happens. Yeah. It's the best. It's great. But yeah, I think 19-year-olds could do that. And I think people just need to get their reps in, man. There's just no other like
way around it.
There's no other way around, and you just don't know what you don't know. Even like when I think I figured out something, like, you know, I'll watch this podcast we just did, and 5 years from now, I'll be like, bro, I was so wrong about like whatever I said.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, Devin was right. I should have like focused on quality versus quantity. And then you'll watch it and you'll be like, bro, I should have just freaking did quantity. Because like your life just changes, and you just, you start adapting, and you're like, you know, you develop these biases, and you'll be like, yeah, I'll never do an agency again. You know, like, but if you would ask yourself a year ago, you'd have been like, bro, this is the best thing ever.
It's the best thing in the world. I'll make money.
Yeah. This is great. And then you're like, yeah, it's not as great as I thought it was,
No,
you know?
not.
So like, I'm aware of that. I'm just always open to new ideas. And then I run it through the lens of my life experience to this point. And I'm like, all right, I understand where they're coming from. I understand that it does work. How does that apply to my situation? You know, are the things I can take from it, or the things that, you know, I agree with, disagree with. I've had a lot of, like, after leaving a podcast, I'll be like, guys, we need to go do this.
All right.
Because it's like such a compelling argument.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think about, I guess, other mistakes people make?
Other mistakes people make. I think it all falls under caring too much about certain things. You don't necessarily need a nice camera. Like, I'm sure everybody watches this and go, oh, okay, Ryan's such a cool setup, X, Y, and Z. I need a cool setup. I don't think those things necessarily matter. I think recording your realm of competence matters. So, for example, if you're a fitness coach, don't record in something like this. Go out and record in the gym or in the kitchen. But back to the original point, I think just people think too many things matter. It doesn't matter what time you post, that kind of thing. There's definitely things that matter, but in the grand scheme of things, they don't matter, if that makes sense. Unless you have made a good video, then anything else doesn't necessarily matter. That would be like the main thing that I would just say is the biggest mistake. You do need a good microphone. I will say that.
Yeah.
People deal with bad video quality, but they won't deal with bad audio quality. Like, it just doesn't make sense. But other than that, I would say is one of the biggest mistakes. Okay.
And then what about, I've seen you talk a lot about hooks and everything else. Explain your process of a video.
Process of a video, from no video to done video?
Sure.
So we currently have content researchers on the team. So the content researchers will go through, scour the internet, look for ideas that have performed well on social media beforehand. And from that, I get a list of content ideas. I'm supposed to choose from those. Realistically, I probably don't. But at the beginning, that's how I started making videos. Is I just looked at what worked and tried to put my own spin onto it. So I'll pick out one of those ideas unless I already have an idea in my mind. Then after that, I'll script it probably around 8 to 10 times. Write it down, thinking this is the best thing in the world. I start reading it out loud, and it's like, this fucking sucks. So I'll delete it, and I'll rewrite it. And then, like I said, one of the rules that I have within recording is always record 3 times. It doesn't matter if the first time was perfect, the second time might be even better. Third time's always going to be better. Record 3 times, and then just post it with SEO guys. I think SEO is something that people don't pay much attention to, but I think it does matter.
I don't. So tell me.
You don't?
Well, I don't pay attention to it. I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but.
So for BMark, if you look up 3 words never to say on sales call, BMark will show up first. Now, of course, no one's going to search for that. However, it does help, I would say, the platform in itself categorize the video to show it to the correct people. I think that matters. The way that we find those is you just go on TikTok. Let's say, for example, you're making a video about real estate. If you type in real estate on TikTok, scroll down a little bit and you'll see 8 different things that other people search for. So it'll give you literally 8 different things that other people are searching for. Make your keyword summary. Your keyword summary being your caption using those key terms. Now, don't just keyword spam because platform's smarter than that. However, you just kind of integrate it within a paragraph. So if I'm making a video about real estate, maybe a keyword might be real estate investor. So this is a video about real estate investors. And if you're a real estate beginner, blah, 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 just kind of making it as humanized as possible, but also using those keywords.
So, man, that's a lot of scripting and filming and everything.
Yeah.
Like, tell me about the script. How is like the structure of a video?
It just depends. It depends on what you're trying to optimize for. And then as well as what you're creating a video about. I have a bunch of different video templates that I personally follow sometimes. But I think it's just more so whatever feels good. I want to give some sort of systemized, logical, blah, blah, blah. At a certain point, it's just, is your video valuable? It goes back to those 5 different things. So I'll just make the video, script it.
But I'm saying like a hook, right? You got to have a good hook.
Okay. So the way I look at a hook is there's 4 levels of awareness. You have a symptom, problem, solution, product. There's always going to be most of your audience being in the symptom field. So if you're making a hook, always keep it in the symptom field. If we break it down to a crocodile brain version of, let's say, for example, how old is your youngest child?
6 months.
6. Okay. A little bit older than that. Do you have another one that's older than that?
3 years.
3 years. So if that child maybe got a cold, they wouldn't necessarily know that they have a cold, but they do know they have the sniffles, sore throat, that kind of thing.
Right.
So I always look at it as never speak up about the problem. I think it's the biggest mistake is people always talk about the problem within the hook, but not the symptom. So if you have low views, I'm going to attack on the fact of you having low views, not the fact that maybe your interest peak isn't good. And then I'll assign the problem to that symptom afterwards.
So give me the context of like, okay, you're getting low views. That's the result. So
if you're getting low views, it's because your interest peak sucks. So getting low views would be the symptom. And then obviously that can give you a problem and then the solution. Then after the solution, the next level of awareness would be your product. Now, I'm not an advocate for selling on video. So I just never talk about the product. I only give the solution. And I think if your solution is good enough, then people will find your product just because they want it.
So do you ever do DMs or link in the bios or anything?
So I've been a big fan of ManyChat lately.
Yeah.
Do you guys use ManyChat?
Yeah. I've used it for years.
So what I do currently and what we do within everyone within the program is that we always make an extension of value. Are you aware of a guy named Toozer?
Who?
Toozer.
No.
So he's a make money online guy. I think he does drop shipping.
Okay.
But within one of his videos, well, all of his videos pretty much, he has this hook, problem, solution, and then he'll give you like the 3 steps. But on the 3rd step or the 1st step, he'll do an extension of value. So he'll give you everything you need to get to point A to point B. But if you want more information on one of the steps, DM me this keyword.
Yeah.
That way it's not, okay.
That's what I've done for years.
Yeah. It's not like all of your values in this one thing. You're still giving them everything that they would need. But if you want an extension of value, message me this keyword.
Yeah.
And within that keyword, you give them the free resource, blah, blah, blah. But not in the attempt to sell them, just to give it to them. But always have a portal to where the person can ascend to whatever your product is.
Right. That makes sense. So yeah, for me, I got started doing DM IG reels. I call them like organic ads because at the end of the day, that's kind of what they are, right? They're a valuable piece of content, but it is like how you framed it, an extension after. Hey, and by the way, if you want, to scale up, DM me this word or comment this word, whatever. So yeah, that's, I like it. I actually stopped doing it for the last few months and I just turned it on today again, ironically, because I just wanted to see how it might affect sales. And I do think that, for me, I just kind of look at the pros and cons, right? And it's like, okay, for sure, it's going to get more leads and they're organic and they're qualified and whatever. What's the downside to not doing, or the downside to doing it? It's like, well, you might flood your page with more ads and stuff like that, right? Of always asking for a sale. But if you have, and part of my thing was, well, dude, if I do like 6 reels a day and 2 of them are that and the other 4 are not, it just starts to even out better. So it's not all just asking.
See, I disagree with that. I think I'm on the side of never ask.
Yeah.
I think if you give the solution and the solution is good, then people would eventually look for a bigger and better solution.
I think you're overestimating how smart people are.
What do you mean by that?
They don't look.
They don't.
I'm just telling you, like you think from your own viewpoint, because you're a motivated, smart dude. If everyone was that way, they would be you, and they're not.
Right.
you need to learn to think from literally just say a fifth grader's point of view.
Yeah.
Does a fifth grader go out and find, like, no, you're like, the candy's over there.
Candy's over there.
And they're like, oh, great. And they go get it.
Yeah. I think a classier way of doing it, at least the way that I would do it, is definitely stories. I think stories can be utilized in a lot of different ways.
To what?
To a classier way to sell.
Okay.
I like to use stories.
Stories, yeah. Stories are great.
I don't like doing it in my videos though.
Because it's going to go away. So people won't even know you did it.
Yeah. And then I just want to have positive reinforcement to my video. I don't want to create any negative reinforcement. Have you heard of the B.F. Skinner experiment?
No.
So B.F. Skinner was an American psychologist back in like the 1940s.
Mm-hmm.
And he believed that all behavior is based on reinforcement.
Yeah.
So you have positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. So this was a little bit deemed as unethical, but he took a bunch of rats, and these are all starving rats, haven't eaten in days. There's two different boxes. One box being the positive box and the other box being the negative box. And in each box was a lever, and that was the lever of reinforcement. So he stuck rats into this one box, and he was trying to increase positive reinforcement on the lever. So basically he stuck the rats in the box, and then from that, the rats eventually walked around looking for food, and one of them stumbled across the lever. Whenever they pulled the lever, food came from the sky, aka B.F. Skinner dropped a piece of cheese in there.
Mm-hmm.
So based on that, they kept on pulling the lever because, food. So they built up positive reinforcement on that lever. Then on the contrary, you have the negative box for negative reinforcement, where he got the unethical term from. Basically, they stuck him in this box, and the lever was still there after they built the positive reinforcement from the lever from the other box. Now, in this box, whenever you pull the lever, an electrical shock goes through the box, and they get shocked. Only took so many times until they built up negative reinforcement to never pull that lever again. And that's the same way I like to look at content. If I keep on giving positive reinforcement, they'll continue to keep on pulling the lever, aka watching my videos. But if I sell too much and I ask for too many things, I believe that creates some sort of negative reinforcement to watch my videos, especially if I don't give them anything in that video.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just where I like to look at it. I always want to be on the positive reinforcement side, not the negative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're saying the same thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Gary V, jab, hook. Right hook, right? Yeah. And I got to talk to Gary at an event we both spoke at. I had about 20 minutes to talk to him like this, one-on-one. And I was actually talking about pitching at events. And I'm like, hey, like, how do you go about selling at the event? He's like, bro, there's nothing wrong with selling. He's like, people have this misconception that when I wrote jab, right hook, that it was just jab, never do a right hook.
Right.
And he's like, that's not what I said. It's jab, right hook. Like, it's very clear. Like, it's, yeah, you do want to give a lot of value, but you also got to consistently right hook them. And it was true because, he was like, bro, people, when they go to an event, they know they're going to be sold something. Like, it's not this mysterious thing that they're being sold. And he's like, so just lean into it. It's like, yeah, guys, this event's going to be great. Whether you buy something or not, you're going to have an epic time, right? Like, did you have a good time at WealthCon?
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. Like, we sold, it didn't matter. Like, it's fine. Like, everyone, whether you bought or not, you still had a good experience, right? And that's the same thing like I try to do with content. It's not like these forced sells. It's like, bro, I sell stuff. You want it, dope. If you don't, you'll still get value no matter what. Even in the ads, it's like the extension DM.
Yeah.
So, this is the other thing too. Grant and I talked about this 2 weeks ago, but he was talking about all these, negative YouTube channels that, whatever, the Zillows of the world and stuff that, it's just all like guru scams and all this stuff. And, he's like, basically, dude, it's easy to get views if you're those guys. You're just always talking about the controversial negative thing. He's like, the problem is, do you want those viewers?
Yeah.
Like, you'll get AdSense, but are those people ever going to buy anything from you? Yeah, right. They ain't buying nothing. You've conditioned them to believe that everything's a scam. Why would they buy anything?
Right.
Or if you try to sell them something, you're now a scam. You're a sellout, right? And he's like, I sell, and I've conditioned people that I sell, and people who follow me know I sell, and like, there will be no problems when I sell. It's not anything new. It just comes with following Cardone or following me, whatever, right? And I think like, even a guy like Alex, who you're going to his event, he had to recondition his audience that he's going to sell, because he built this whole thing off the back of, I have nothing to sell you. And then eventually he realized like, well, actually I do need to sell. And so, he started to go through the evolution of like, oh, well, I am going to sell. I have events, we have this now, we have that, we have books, and,
books are expensive.
Yeah. But it's like,
You got to make some money on the book.
well, oh, for sure.
Yeah.
He's killing it on the books,
Yeah.
but, he will sell more things as time goes on.
Yeah.
It's inevitable, right? I actually thought, when he released his other book, when he had the whole webinar, everyone thought he was going to sell something. He didn't. It was just the next book.
Mm-hmm.
I was like thinking, man, dude, this guy really needs to launch a business operating system. And I still wholeheartedly believe he will at some point, not as like a money grab or anything, but because people want it. Like, I believe he's going to build a framework for business operating system with all of his books. And then he's going to turn it into, just this massive thing. I could be completely wrong. I mean, I haven't asked him about it, but that's just what I see as inevitable.
I was ready to buy on the presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Went to go get my wallet.
But see, that's the thing, right? It's kind of a disservice when you don't sell.
How so?
Because
Losing the
if he had
skin in the
something
game?
else that you could have bought that was deeper, it would have benefited you. And you actually did end up buying it, because now he sold you a ticket to his live event here.
Right.
And you paid a lot of money for it. And you're happy to do it.
I was happy to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do people a disservice when you don't sell. I learned that from Cardone. Think about it. Like, dude, if you really look, you sell education now, right? If you only gave tips on Instagram and people wanted to go deeper with you and they couldn't, you'd be doing them a disservice. But now you allow them to, and now they're happy. You're happy. Everyone's lives are better.
Yeah.
That's why I know he's inevitably going to have to do more, because the demand is there, and it's a disservice not to fill the demand. Because right now he only fulfills demand on high-end companies that he can acquire. But he has all this demand with startup companies, or, companies doing 7 figures, but they're not big enough for him to acquire. Like,
right.
Inevitably, I believe he's going to have to.
Yeah.
And when he does, whenever that may be, you can take this clip. Like, because I can see it already. Like, I can't see a reason why you wouldn't, unless you did not want to be in the education space, which that's not the case, because he creates educational content all the time. So like that to me is not the case. There's lots of there's lots of great entrepreneurs who do not want to do content. They don't want to be anyone's coach. They don't want to be no one's guru. They just want to build their business and chill. But when you have a heart to help people and you have great content and you're a great teacher, inevitably you have to create a way for people to go deeper with you.
Sure.
And so I'm actually really curious to see what they do at the event. You'll have to tell me.
I feel like it was a lot of qualifying. I feel like there's definitely a bigger thing at stake.
Yeah, they're going to sell some.
Yeah.
If they sell you a business operating system,
I'll let you know.
you let me know, because I'll laugh. But yeah, dude, I just think, I don't know. You've asked me more questions today than I've asked you. So I feel like I'm just like, you're interviewing me, but I think inevitably a lot of your ideas are going to shift as you keep going deeper in business, because you're already doing it yourself. You're contradicting your own belief system with how you choose to spend your dollars.
Buying education?
Well, just with, oh, dude, like, I don't believe I should sell. They'll find it, right? It's like, no, they won't. Like, inevitably, you're going to realize you're going to have to like promote more, essentially, because you'll help more people. That's what you'll realize. You'll be like, bro, like, okay, if more people know about my stuff, I'm gonna help more people. I can hire more people and help more employees and give people bigger opportunities. And obviously you'll make more money too. Like, there's literally no reason not to.
Yeah. So that's probably one of the biggest issues, is spending too much time on product and like not spending as much time on distribution. I'm trying to get more people. I just want to make sure that everything's perfect.
More people like on the front end, like you're following?
No, not even necessarily the following, just like getting more customers. Like whenever you said it earlier in the podcast to where it just depends on how much money you have, like at some point you just don't care. Yeah. I'm starting to feel that.
You're starting to feel like you've made enough money that you don't really care as much.
Yeah. It's like
a lot of money's different for everyone, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, like when I made 200 grand when I was 26, when I first made 6 figures.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I am so freaking rich. I don't know what I'm going to do with all this. For real. I was like, this is crazy.
I think the first 6-figure month, like not in the business, but like in profit.
Yeah.
That was the biggest like mind shift to where it's like, I don't know what I would even buy with this. I just want more employees.
Yeah. But how are you going to get more employees if you don't get more customers?
Get more customers, yeah.
Right. And then, more customers means more word of mouth, more impact, more everything. So how do you get more customers? I mean, you got to talk about what you sell, right? Yeah. Like, it's like, yeah, there's not one business guy I know that does not talk about what they sell and actively promote it. Can you name one? Well, you'd be the outlier.
Well, there's a couple of guys like Jeff Nippard. Have you ever watched his stuff before?
I don't know.
He's a big fitness guy within the space. He's pretty much all same kind of ideology. I mean, there are times to where he sells, but it's not very. It's a really classy way of selling.
How big is his business?
I couldn't tell you. I think that he's probably doing multiple 7 figures. I would assume that.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can do multiple 7 figures, being very low key.
Yeah,
you ain't doing 8 or 9 figures. Like I said, all those entrepreneur guys before, they all sell, and then like Alex, since he's big. Because we would get people who say that. They'd be like, well, Alex said you shouldn't pitch and you should just like only do this for a long period of time. And I'm just like, well, yeah, if you have $50 million, you can get away with it. But do you have $50 million like where you could never pitch and just focus on spending all this money building your brand? Oh, you don't? Well, then you're probably going to have to pitch, very soon in order to scale the content and hire more people. You got to get sales to fund the operation, right? And it's the same thing with like even how do you think he built his business originally?
Sold a course.
But
like which business?
Yeah, like gym launch.
Yeah, sales. Just
literally sales and ads 24/7. He did not build it the way he's building acquisition.com.
Right.
He built it the exact opposite way. Pure ads, pure sales, and he got paid. And now, he's got a different message once he's paid. And I look at that and I'm like, well, those are conflicting things.
But I actually did do that. Like I'm looking at it from the lens of I actually did not sell anything and it built my business without, and then I made that one ask. Like I did make one video and it was basically like a really cool video. Like I looked at it as like a classy animation kind of ordeal, and it did well. It did extremely well. Got like 170,000 views and it was just a video about my stuff.
Yeah. But how many of views are there?
How many of what?
Like how many more people built it, their business, sales and marketing?
Well, how many more people would be willing to do that?
What do you mean?
Like willing to sit there and go, okay, I know if I made this ask, I'll make a lot of money, but I'm not going to because I have a bigger plan in mind. Like how many people?
No. But I'm saying like, there's always stages where that's going to happen, even for myself, right? Mm. Like if I was to publicly go on right now and be like, hey, I'm going to take 3 one-on-ones right now, right? It's a delayed thing that I've never really done publicly or anything. And like, we could do it, but it's just delay. Like there's lots of, like you'll always delay some big launch and thing. And then you're going to have a big launch. It'll happen again and again and again. Right. So like, it's just always going to happen. That's the first one you experienced. And then you're going to do it again. And then you're going to do it again. And so it starts to become like more repetitive. But my point is, there's a lot more people who build their business selling and asking for stuff from the get-go, right? And that's how normal businesses operate. They're not just doing content for free out of the goodness of their heart. They're selling and asking. And then as time goes on, sure, you can start doing other things once you've made some money to not be as salesy, right? And so I think like Alex is at that stage. Patrick Bet-David's starting to do that too, right? Where he sold his company and now, hey, you know what? Like, he's doing his podcast and talking about politics and chilling. He's not really selling. Ed Milet's the same way. He's worth $500 million. He doesn't really sell. He's just chilling. Like the guys I see that don't sell, they've already made it. That's my point with it. And that's why I say I've yet to see any of them make it first without selling. Because even you had to sell. Like you didn't, you built a brand for a little bit, but you inevitably made a big ask and you did
That was like
it.
a year after though.
Yeah, but you're 19 years old. Like you've been building up for 6 years, you said.
Yeah.
To make a big ask. Like you just didn't know enough yet or have enough credibility to really make the ask. You had to build your street cred before you could make the ask, essentially. Like if you already had street cred going into it and you spent 6 years building a business, you could have already made an ask from the jump. But the thing you were selling, you had to actually prove out for a year before you could actually make an ask. So I would argue you didn't actually wait. You made your ask once you were ready.
I've had over 100,000 followers for a long time. Well, probably for about a year now. I've been creating content since December. I just genuinely thought that would be the best thing to do. I think it just depends on how you did it. And that's going to be the way that you look at it. Like, I look at it as like, this is the best way to do. But then obviously other people that have done it a lot bigger than me prove me wrong.
Well, no, but I'm just saying like, you've had 100, you made your big ask for the coaching.
Yeah.
But you were asking for agency before. Like you were getting clients and everything else, making money, doing your thing.
Yeah.
And then you mastered that. You had enough track record and resume of helping other people, your clients, have success. And that allowed you to ask for the next thing.
Right.
That's why I'm saying, like, did you really wait? I know the plan was to wait.
Yeah.
But like, could you ask for this big thing and have that launch if you would have asked back then with no clients? You yourself had 100,000.
Yeah.
But now with all these agency clients, then you make the ask. It's a different ask because track record.
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think like everybody does that. Like Hormozy's no different in that he makes the big ask for his book because track record, the dude's been selling and grinding for 10 plus years. And then he's earned the right to now, and he's going to make another big ask at some point and then another big ask, and I'll make a big ask, and we'll just keep, I think you make like deposits of like what you're able to ask for, in value, right? Okay. Giving a ton of value. And then at some point you just decide when you want to like call in the deposits, right? And you do it in what you feel is probably the optimal time to call the deposit in because you have like the right timing, the right product, the right everything. I'll give you an example, like Gary Vee, right? He made his biggest ask ever with NFTs at the height of the NFT craze. And it's like, that dude been grinding for 20 plus years. Has he asked along the way? For sure. I mean, this dude's doing wine TV, freaking slanging wines for 10 years, right? And then like, he's building great content. Yeah, people know about VaynerMedia and like all this stuff. And then he makes a fat ask, at the perfect timing for a subject he's been predicting and talking about. And then I think the statistic was he made like 90 million in 90 days. That's freaking crazy.
Yeah.
But he didn't he waited, but did he? My point is it's impossible to run a business and make money without asking. Like you're going to ask along the way. It's just how big is the ask?
I definitely agree with the fact that people are not as smart as you think they are.
No.
Yeah.
Do not. Yeah, people are not.
Yeah.
If they were, why would they need your help? They'd be you.
Right.
There's only very few 19-year-olds that have made 7 figures and done what you've done. I wasn't one of them. You're smarter than me when you're 19.
Better vehicle. Also more information.
Yeah, but doesn't matter. Like, and Grant tells me the same thing. Grant's like, bro, you're like way ahead of me when I was 34. And it's true. It's like, yeah, I have more, tools available to me. I watched you pave the path. I can like avoid years and years of mistakes and problems and things. I'll just let you pave the way and then let me just kind of go behind you.
Right.
And to be able to learn directly from that guy who I would say for me is like the most similar guy in terms of business, that I would be trying to emulate. We have a lot of different views on faith and everything else, but being in real estate, education, social media, he's the guy.
Yeah.
And, these other guys you can learn from I learn from you. That's why I picked your brain. I'm like, bro, tell me what you think about what's going on. And then I'll just be like, all right, I like that. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I understand your perspective. Like, cool. All right. And then I just get this worldview. And then like I observe other people. And then I observe what they say versus what they do, which is why I've kind of like, I'm telling you things I've seen you do versus what you say. And I'm like, I don't know that I agree with that. Like, and then same thing with Alex or Grant. I'll be like, this is what you say. And maybe you truly believe this is what you do and did, but that's not what I see, And it's trying to just be objective with everything. Like I know for a fact I sell and I don't care. Like it's just, it'll get me to a certain point and only history will tell me in hindsight whether or not it was the right move. And, could I have sold less and made more potentially? But if you're happy with the result you got, then it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Like it's good. Yeah. Well, bro, I had a lot of fun, I guess, talking about my own feelings. But no, I think, dude, I'm like super impressed with what you're doing. B Mark and everyone obviously says great things. You help so many people grow. If you don't know, I'm talking about Brian Mark. I'll link to his episode down below that we did. We were actually talking about you on his episode.
Yeah.
And just seeing how smart and thoughtful and everything you are at such a young age is crazy. And, I just want you to know, however I can be a resource, dude, I'm here.
I appreciate that, Ryan.
Yeah. Well, guys, go check Devin out. Go check out what he's got to offer. He won't sell you it. So just reach out to him and, he'll take care of you guys. And I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
It's never too late to start anything. People just say that like it's too late because they don't want to start now to put in the work.
It's not even about the number of followers or views. Would you rather have 1 million views of you doing a prank video or 10,000 views of you talking about your actual business that's attracting the people that